The concept of the emerging church was part of a conversation I was part of in the mid to late 90s. The talk at the time was all about reaching Generation X, which really was not a good conversation because it's generationally focused, which is too narrow. I got brought onto a speaking team with Leadership Network, did a conference at a conference center in Mount Hermon in California. I had a small, brand new church plant at the time, was in my mid-20s, and shifted that conversation to postmodernity, the transition into postmodern culture. My minor in college was in philosophy, emphasis in epistemology with Descartes, and the transition from the modern to the postmodern world. And out of that came kind of the emerging church, which is a sort of a catch-all phrase for those younger churches and pastors that are trying to figure out how to do church in a postmodern world. There's a stream in that called emergent. Obviously, the names are totally confusing. That tends to be more liberal in nature, but within the emerging stream, I would say there's actually 4 different teams at this point. There's emergent, which is more liberal on such things as substitutionary atonement, authority of Scripture, exclusivity of Christ, original sin. There are then those who are basically evangelical, but trying to come up with new church forms. Those are more the house church guys, trying to do smaller, new monastic communities, whatever they call them, house churches. Theologically, evangelical, moderates, new church forms. Then there are those that are doing traditional kind of evangelical theology and just trying to upgrade the music, upgrade the style, try to make it a little hipper, cooler, trendier, church 2.0 for the young kids. And then there's a 4th stream, which I think is a new reform stream of guys who hold to reform distinctives of theology, but also are really interested in what a church looks like as a missionary, that's the missional piece, in postmodern culture. So assuming we're in a secular culture, which we are, that is in need of the church, which it is, the question is, how should we function as missionaries and emerge a faithful church for postmodern culture? What does that church look like to effectively be missional, to do missional work? We tend to think of missionaries as people we send to other countries to reach other countries and cultures, but you know, our nation is as thoroughly secular in every way as almost any nation on the earth. 3,500 churches die and close every year. 80% are plateaued and declining. The church is not doing well. Younger people are not going to church. The question is, if we were missionaries and just sort of dropped into this place, what would we do? And so that is more the conversation. What does a missionary look like in America? What does a missional church look like in America? And the answers to those questions are emerging, so that's the emerging piece.